tarot cards, rune readings, dowsing, crystals. What's the deal with that? Hey guys, I've had a couple people in the past couple days ask me questions about tarot card readings and what are my thoughts on tarot card readings. I've had many people read my cards for me over the years. I've had many people read my astrological chart over the years. I've had many people who did rune readings for me over the years. And I find that it's a very interesting topic for me. You know, I believe all the powers of the oneness of God is within each one of us. But a lot of times we come to the space of needing something outside of ourselves to use as a tool of divination, is what the word is, divination, to divine information. Divination, to divine information. What I find interesting about the various tools that you see, tarot cards, runes, crystals, so on and so forth, I find them to be a very interesting thing because it is, and I go back to the story of Jeshua and the blind man in the Bible, where he comes to the blind man who's been blind all his life, who was born blind, and Jeshua picks up mud, he spits on it, he makes mud, and he wipes it on the guy's eyes, and they wash it off and the man can see. Was it the mud that cured him? No, it wasn't the mud that cured him. Was it Jeshua that cured him? No, it wasn't Jeshua that cured him. It was the man's belief that cured him. But the man, because he was born blind, who only knew the world through tactile things, needed something tactile to put faith in, put belief in. So what he knew his entire life was feeling things as opposed to seeing things. So the way that man could believe was to feel the mud being put upon his eyes and feel the water washing off of him. And then that was something he could put faith in to heal. I find that the majority of the readers I know, after they read for quite a few times, or quite a few years, they start to read the cards, but they start looking at the cards less and less. Looking at the runes less and less. You can tell that what they're actually doing is they're picking up their own personal feelings and bringing it in. I had a very good friend of mine, and she is still very much a good friend of mine. I haven't talked to her in years, but her name is Kiara, and she was an amazing tarot card reader. And she had one deck of cards that was so old that she had worn the edges so thin, and they had worn to the shape of almost a figure eight symbol because the sides where she was shuffling and everything were wearing away. And I was walking by her booth at a medieval fair, and she called me in and sat me down. She says, "John, I need to talk to you." She says, "You're one of the few people I can talk to about this." I said, "What's up?" She says, "I had a dream that I was standing in the river dropping my cards into the river and they were washing away. And I don't understand what that dream is." I said, "Kiara, as long as I've known you, you haven't been reading cards. The cards are just the thing that you are putting focus in because you didn't think it could come through you. Well, what you're finding now is you're starting to realize that you are the one. It's coming through you. The cards are just something you put faith in because of your own self-doubt and lack of self-value or self-worth. And what's coming now is you're starting to realize that the information is flowing through you and you no longer need these cards. All of these divination tools are just tools. It's like I told the story before of when I channeled that time, and it came through with the thick accent and the whole bit. But over the course of a year of that, we discovered that I didn't need that persona, and that I was actually impressing that persona on it because I, with my own self-doubt, my own self-worth, didn't think I could have information come through me. Well, people will put power into objects, into things, into divination tools around you, specifically so it doesn't have to be them. So they can look outside of themselves, past their own filters of doubt, and they say, "Oh, the cards are saying this, and not me. Oh, the runes say this, not me." I don't know what that means. Oftentimes you'll hear them give justifications. It's just what the card says, because it gives them permission to not have that information come through. I don't use any divination tools like that because I think that for me personally, not for anybody else. I'm not in any way, shape, or form judging anybody else. For me personally, I don't use them because I think that would be hindering the information. I think the information comes through clearer for me when I stripped everything else away and started coming back into my own love of self enough to go, I am worthy of it. I am worthy of receiving this information. And it took me a long time to get to that space. I mean, for those of you who know my story, my background, I did not come from a place of self-worth. Right now, I look at everyone, and I know that everybody I see is divine. Everyone I see has the ability to tap into any piece of information they need or want. Anybody can read. Anybody. But it's a matter of realizing that the thing that stops us is our own self-doubt, our own self-worth, looking outside of ourselves because we don't feel like it could come through us. And the reality of it is it all comes through us. When you use the tools, that's just you using something to put justification of where it's coming from, but it's coming through you. It's coming through the person who's reading. And all the divination tools are just paths outside of yourself. I'm looking at that because that is not me. That is the tool. And the reality of it is you don't need any tools. No one needs any tools. Because there is only your consciousness and the consciousness of God. Everything else is just illusion. The cards in your hand are just an illusion of belief. And in reality, it literally is just your consciousness in the oneness of God. And in that oneness of God consciousness, you have the ability to tap into all information. But you have to set down the anxieties and the fears that are engaged with self-doubt and self-worth. You need to come back to that space of realizing, I am. What does it say? God's name says I am, and I am one with God, is what Yeshua said. So if that's the case, when I say I am, whatever comes after it is what I believe. I am reading your tarot cards because I am understanding that the tarot cards are telling me this. The tarot cards aren't magic. You're the magic. You are the magic. The people who are reading are the magic. But it's a matter of them being clear enough to let go of their fears and anxiety so whatever comes through can be clear. And so it really comes down to understanding that there are no divination tools. There are no things with specific powers in the world except for the things that you put belief in. And that is the greatest thing that anyone can learn is all the powers within you. There's nothing in this physical world that has power that you need in any way. So that's my thought on divination tools like tarot cards and the such. I had 2 people, as I said, ask in the past day, so I thought it would be a good video to pop up. And that's my thought on it all. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.